Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week will be the first episode with Kaladesh cards. And I would like to stress that this deck, which is red-green energy, is not optimal, because I have not had enough time to test to get to an optimal build. However, it is the first deck that I have tried, and I think it's okay as of now. I haven't got to put a ton of time into it. The set just dropped yesterday. I'm recording this on Thursday, my time, and I've only got to get in a few games, less than 10, I think, so I'm still in the single-digit ranks. But this is a decent start, so let's go through the list, shall we? We are playing 3 Scythe Leopards, mostly because it is a 1-drop with a potential upside with the landfall. It's also very good at crewing our Smuggler's Copters, which we will see a bit later in the list. We are running 3 Kessig Prowler, which is a 2-1 for 1, so another efficient 1-drop. With upside, you can transform it into Sinuous Predator if you happen to have 5 mana available. And Sinuous Predator is a 4-4 that can't be blocked by more than one creature. Up next, we're running 2 Thriving Grubs, which is an energy card. It's not the best of the aggressive energy creatures, but we can only run so many of each card because Magic Duels is limited. You can only run 3 of each uncommon, 2 of each rare, and 1 of each mythic, so we have to fill in the gaps somewhere. Grubs gives you 2 energy counters when it enters play, and when you attack, you may pay 2 energy and put a +1/+1 counter on it. Now we can only do this when it attacks, and only once each time it attacks. Up next, we're playing 3 Longtusk Cub, which in my opinion is a much better energy aggressive creature than the Grubs. For a green and a colorless, we get a 2/2 cat. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we get 2 energy counters. We may pay 2 energy counters at any time, not just when it's attacking, and as many times as we want, up to the limit of the energy we have, to put a +1/+1 counter on the cub. And next, we are playing the full 3 Voltaic Brawlers. In my opinion, the best aggressive energy creature in the set. For a red and a green, we get a 3/2 Human Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, we get 2 energy counters, and whenever it attacks, we may pay 1 energy counter to give it +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. Again, we can only do this once per attack. We are running 2 Smuggler's Copters. If they weren't rare and I could run more, I would run more because they are insane. 2 colorless for a vehicle that can become a 3/3 when we crew it. Crew 1 means we tap any number of creatures with a total power of 1 or more, and this vehicle turns into the artifact creature with the power and toughness down here until end of turn. It's flying, and when it attacks or blocks, we may draw a card. If we do, discard a card. Very good vehicle. My opinion, probably the best vehicle in the set. We are running 3 Harnessed Lightning, probably the best energy removal in the set. For a red and a colorless, we have an instant. We choose target creature, we get 3 energy, and then we may pay any amount of energy, and Harness Lightning deals that much damage to that creature. Alright, let's explain how this works, and for those of you that watched my set review videos, I apologize if I'm beating a dead horse. We don't choose how much energy to spend until the spell resolves. We don't get the energy until the spell resolves either, but if we target a 2/2 with this, and we have no other energy in our pool, and our opponent has the option to pump their creature through any means, either itself or some other way, then they have to choose to do that before we choose to spend the energy. So, if they don't pump it, we can spend 2, and it's just dead. They don't get to react to that. And if they pump it beyond what the damage that we could deal with energy, we just choose not to spend the energy and save it for something else. 2 Lathnu Hellion. Super aggressive card. Love this guy. Would play more if I could. For a red and 2 colorless, we have a 4/4 with haste. He gives us 2 energy counters when he enters the battlefield, and at the beginning of our end step, we have to sacrifice it unless we pay 2 energy. So with just the energy he produces himself, he can get in 2 swings. We are playing 3 Brazen Scourge, 2 red and a colorless for a 3/3 haster. Just an all-around aggressive card. Not an energy card, but Still, I think it belongs in this deck in some number. We are running one Nissa Vastwood Seer because mostly we're running pretty low on lands in this aggro deck. She's fine at crewing our Smuggler's Copter, also gives us extra lands, and should we ever manage to flip her, her other side's fairly aggro too. We can put out a 4/4, then later we can draw extra cards, and I don't think we're ever going to get to the point that we can ultimate her in this deck, but you know, that is always lingering there as a threat. We are running 2 Thriving Rhino. Again, this is kind of a filler card as we can't run playsets of everything that we would like to. It is an energy creature. For 3 mana, we get a 2/3 that gives us 2 energy when it enters the battlefield, and when it attacks, we can pay 2 to put a +1/+1 counter on it. We are running 4 Fiery Temper, which synergizes well with our Smuggler's Copters. Also just fine if we have to hard cast it. 3 damage to target creature or player. If we discard it to the Copter, we can Madness it out for 1 red. We are running 2 Exquisite Firecraft, mostly to give us that little bit of reach if we need to do 4 more damage to the opponent. Also can function as a very good removal spell as well. 2 Collective Defiance, for the pretty much the same reasons as we are running the Exquisite Firecraft, except Collective Defiance is a bit more flexible and deals a bit less damage to our opponent. 2 Bristling Hydra, another energy creature and the largest of the energy creatures that we're running. For 2 green and 2 colorless, we get a 4/3 Hydra that gives us 3 energy when it enters the battlefield, and we can pay 3 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains hexproof till end of turn. Now, if we don't already have 3 energy in our pool, when we cast Bristling Hydra, the opponent can kill it in response to us gaining the 3 energy, or if we should decide to pump it with 3 energy and don't have enough to do it again, then they can kill it in response to the trigger of that as well. 1 Chandra Tortured Defiance. I don't actually think she's at her best in a deck like this. I think Chandra wants to be in a controlling deck, but we need cards, and Chandra's a fine one to be running. For +1 loyalty, she exiles the top card of our library. We may cast that card. If we don't, she deals 2 damage to each opponent. Now, it's important to note that it does say cast the card, so we can't play lands off of this ability. Also, +1 loyalty, we get 2 red mana. For -3 loyalty, she deals 4 damage to target creature. And for -7, we get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or player. I don't expect us to ever hit that, but if we do, it will probably just flat out win the game. A much better Planeswalker in this deck, and one that I wish I could actually run an extra copy of, it's Arlinn Kord. Her most relevant ability, at least in this deck, is the +1 giving a creature +2/+2 vigilance and haste until end of turn. Though, in a pinch, we can make a wolf, and then her backside is also very useful. It can also pump our creatures, can serve as removal, which I don't think that it's going to be doing a lot. And if we ever get to the emblem, creatures tapping to deal their damage straight to each player, or a creature if we choose, is ridiculous. We are only running 21 lands in this deck, as it is fairly low to the ground and aggressive. We're running 6 mountains and 8 forests. We're slightly higher on the green sources, even though we are playing more red cards in the deck, because we need our green early to cast our 1-drops. Then we're running 2 Cinder Glade, 2 Rootbound Crag, and 3 Aether Hub. Aether Hub is a new card from Kaladesh. It's a land. When it enters the battlefield, we get an energy. We can tap it to make colorless, or we can tap it and pay an energy to make a mana of any color. Very good in this deck. Probably very good in a lot of decks overall. It's just a very efficient mana fixer. So that is the deck list. Let's get in there and turn some creatures sideways, shall we? Alright, I really wish one of these were the Force, but I think this is a fine hand. We're going to keep it. And as you can see, we have not got to play a whole lot of Magic Duels. We are still in the single-digit ranks, not yet broken even into the double digits. So we will lead off with our Aether Hub and play a Kessig Prowler, spending the energy that it gave us Just depending next turn, we'll probably just play out our Thriving Grubs to avoid using the energy that this Aether Hub would give us. We'll play a Mountain. Alright, Alchemist's Vial from the opponent. They're going to draw a card off of that. Then they can sacrifice it to cause a creature to be unable to attack or block till end of turn. Bristling Hydra, pretty good draw. We will need another green source or some energy to be able to cast that. Luckily, our grubs here will produce us some energy. So we may want to not pump it with the energy that it gives, just so that we can make our Bristling Hydra drop for sure on turn 4. We'll swing in for 2. Alrighty. See what the opponent's got going on. Looks like they're playing Jeskai colors right now in a fairly controlling deck with the Alchemist's Vial there. Alright, looks like they have nothing. I would suspect they have something to cast at instant speed. If not, we're in pretty good shape here. Well, we are going to cast the Brazen Scourge pre-combat because it does have haste. That way we can get in for more damage, hopefully. May get counterspelled here, or one of these may die. Yep, it is getting counterspelled. Well, them's the breaks. Luckily we can cast the Bristling Hydra next turn. And we are not going to pump the grubs. Do not pay, please. Alrighty. Well, we're off to a fairly good start as far as aggroing the opponent here. Would have loved it if the Brazen Scourge had resolved. Gideon may pose a bit of a problem for us. Just depending. We can't swing in profitably to this ally here. Harness Lightning helps a bit, but if we do that, then we can't play the Bristling Hydra. However, we can spend these 2 energy now because we have the green source. So, I'm not sure what to do. Let me think just a bit. So, I think we're going to want to set up to try to Alpha Strike Gideon next turn. We're going to go ahead and play out our Aether Hub here. And then we will play our Bristling Hydra. And it will give us 3 energy. So we have enough to activate its plus and hexproof ability once. We're not going to do that. We're going to try to use that to save it from damage or other removal. Harnessed Lightning will likely be one of our plays next turn. Gideon is making an ally, okay? And that is it. Well, we continue to draw lands. Let's go ahead and play our mountain out here. I think we probably want to swing before we choose to use Harness Lightning. So we will do that. We are going to swing with everything at Gideon. Confirm, then I'm going to pause before they get to choose who to block with and kill one of these knight allies, or try to. And they let that happen, so you see we were choosing the amount of energy to spend while the spell is resolving, and then they have no further recourse to respond. Sorry, my phone going off there, and I still do not want to pay to pump that up. Go ahead and mute that thing. I thought I already had it muted. So we're getting Gideon off the board, which is quite good for us. They are removing our grubs, which is what I thought they would do. That's the reason I didn't spend the energy. It would have been a waste. And I'm going to hold this Kessig Prowler because as controlling as this deck seems to be, we are likely to be facing a board sweeper at some point here. Alright, Pilgrim's Eye, so we are not getting swept this turn, it seems. That's good. Also, I don't think that we're getting any music or sound effects here. I don't know if that's a little bug in the client or what. After this game, I'll go ahead and restart it to see if we can't get some background music and some sound effects going on. Alright, opponent is passing the turn. We now have enough to activate our Bristling Hydra twice. Hello, Lathnu Hellion. I think I'm going to play my land first, just to give us extra mana to pay in case they play another calculated dismissal. We won't be able to pay enough if they have Spell Shrivel, but we play around the best we can. We'll play this. Looks like it is resolving, gaining us another 2 energy. And we'll be swinging for a lot. Alright, going there. I still don't think we're going to pump the Hydra. We'll just deal the 3 damage, that's fine. And pass the turn. We will pay to keep our Hellion around. Could very well get planar outbursted here. And there it is. Well, no use to pump this, it won't save it. Planar outburst is not targeted, so the hexproof will not do anything relevant. Collective Defiance is a fine card, however, I am on the Kessig Prowler plan. We also have enough mana to flip it. Do we want to do that now, or wait to see if they try to kill it? They could kill it in response to the flip. If they have something that they can cast with the red mana there. I think I'm just going to pass for now. We'll try to flip it at the end of their turn. They do have the Alchemist Vial that can keep us from attacking with 1 creature for 1 turn. See if this guy dies. And he doesn't, we get to flip him. Do expect that they will keep us from attacking though. Let's see. And they do indeed. Well, let's get out potential lethal onto the board. Or try to. Looks like that is resolving. Hopefully we don't get the second planar outburst cast on us here. Radiant Flames would also be okay, except that we could pump the Longtusk Cub up enough to not get killed, so let's do that. Pay. Pay. And they say that's enough. We're going to continue playing just to make sure. If they have nothing else, then we will be swinging for lethal, plus we have the 3 damage from Collective Defiance in our hand. Alright guys, that looks like it. On to the next game, I'll see you there, hopefully with sound effects after I restart the client. Alright, so it turns out I didn't have the volume turned up enough. So while you guys will be able to hear sound effects in that first video, I wasn't. I'll be able to fix that in post. I think this is keepable. It's a little slow as far as aggro goes, but it's got a lot of staying power, if you catch my drift. And we could draw something to be able to cast turn 1 or turn 2 since we are on the draw. Alright. Forest and pass from the opponent, it seems. We're going to lead off with our Cinder Glade to make sure and get our green mana available on turn 2. We've got all the removal in our hand. Looks like we don't need to use it yet, though, as they just play another Forest and pass. Aha! Nice top deck. I was hoping to have a turn 2 drop. Longtusk Cub is a fairly good one. And the Cub can provide us enough energy to keep our Lathnu Hellion going if they both survive. Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, alrighty then. Probably making a plant. We will probably need to just kill her. Though we don't quite have what we need to do that at this point. It's important to note that we only get this when the Cub deals damage to a player, so If it hits Nissa, we won't get that 2 energy. Still, I think we need to pressure her, so we're going to play out our Hellion. The Hellion will be blocked by this plant most likely, and we'll get 2 damage through to Nissa. Then next turn, if they both manage to survive, Harness Lightning should get us through for the lethal to her. We'll attack the Planeswalker. Yep, doing 2 damage. We will not get extra energy, because even though she functions sort of like a player as far as targeting and things are concerned, she is not a player. And we will be paying that 2 energy. In fact, if we draw another land, then Collective Defiance will allow us to deal with both Nissa and the plant token here. We did not, however. Therefore, I think we want to go to attacks and then Harness Lightning this guy. Attack, attack her, confirm, pause, and Harness Lightning on the plant. Pack Guardian, okay. Well, that's a little unfortunate. Yes, we will spend the 1. So now we have energy to pay for Hellion if they don't trade their Pack Guardian for it, and they're not. However, do we want to trade the Cub for the Pack Guardian, even though it means that we'll also have to lose our Hellion? It's a very interesting dilemma. I actually think that we want to keep the Hellion around because we can still Harness Lightning and kill the Pack Guardian or Collective Defiance it. So, I think this is fine. Yes, pay the energy, please. Nissa continuing to pump out plants. Probably need to also try to get Voltaic Brawler out there because Trample will be very beneficial in trying to deal with this Planeswalker. We finally did draw another land though, so I think, let's do this. Let's Harness Lightning on the Pack Guardian. And we will spend 3 and get rid of it. Then we will swing with the Hellion, play the Voltaic Brawler after. I expect that the plant will just chump block here. And it is. The Brawler will give us the energy required to keep the Hellion alive. And hopefully Collective Defiance will help us clean everything up next turn. Another Pack Guardian, alrighty then. Do you have another land to make a wolf? Looks like they do. So that is a little unfortunate. We will now need to draw an energy card, I think, to make Voltaic Brawler be able to survive some combat with the wolf here. However, if they block here with the wolf, there's very interesting, complex combat here. Okay, and this transforms into a 5/6. Alrighty then. Looks like they chose to put counters on that time. So, I now feel like that the correct play is probably Collective Defiance. And we can kill Nissa now that she's ticked down. We can do 4 here. That will also keep this guy from flipping. However, our Hellion will die because we have no more energy to pay. But I still think it's our best play. We could swing with this Hellion, hoping that they'll block with this, and then I can kill it. And then Exquisite Firecraft will clean this up afterwards. I think that's what I'm going to do. It's a free attack. The Hellion's going to die anyway. And if they block with the wolf, that's fine as well. But they are blocking with the big guy. I'm happy about that. So Collective Defiance, 4 damage, 3 damage. So 4 here, and 3 to Nissa, please. And that leaves us in a bit of a better position. Would like to draw a 5th land here so I can play my Grubs and my Exquisite Firecraft in the same turn. Heirloom gives +1/+1. Neither of these creatures can transform, so we are not going to have to worry about seeing Ashmouth Blade at this point. And I think I just take the 9 damage here. Alright, nothing further from the opponent. And we did not draw a land. So I could play Nissa and then fetch up a forest and play Grubs, but I think it is more important at the moment to get this guy off the board. And since I'm not planning on blocking this wolf, I'm going to swing for 3. Pulse of Marasa on the big werewolf? Yes. Alrighty, we're going to have a hard time winning this game. It's not looking good at the moment. Hello, werewolf. Going to have to try to cast spells to keep that guy from flipping, although they can just not cast spells themselves and flip him. Is he just a vanilla 5/6? Yes. Okay. Alright, equipping the heirloom over there, that's fine. That will let the heirloom flip if he manages to flip. And Ashmouth Blade is a whole lot more threatening than the neglected heirloom. Fiery Temper is an okay-ish draw. However, I think at this point we're going to have to bite the bullet and play Nissa to fetch up a 5th land. Yes. Give us a forest, please. And play out our Grubs, which will give us some energy. Now, the question is, do we throw Nissa under the bus? I don't think we do. If we can flip her, that will be very good. We're still 2 mana off of doing that, though. Yeah, I don't expect that guy to swing. Well, let's try and trade here, shall we? Alright. And they're going to flip this guy and the Ashmouth Blade. I can't stop that. Fiery Temper's not enough to deal with it. We did get a 6th land though, didn't we? So 1 more land and we can flip Nissa. Let's play this. This guy is an 8/9 with first strike because of the Ashmouth Blade. Continue. Probably just throw Thriving Grubs under the bus and hope to draw our 7th land here. Alright, here it comes. Rumble, rumbling. We'll block. I could have Fiery Tempered last turn to flip this guy back, but the Ashmouth Blade will not flip back. It doesn't have that clause on it, so it's still a decent threat. either way. Let's do this, shall we? Well, we didn't draw a land, we drew a Kessig Prowler. It can transform into a 4/4, which is not enough to deal with an 8/9 first striker. I do think that we'll be happy to block with it though, so let's get some damage in. We're not going to win this race if we just keep sitting back and blocking. Yes, pay the energy. And then we'll cast Prowler to hopefully keep us alive in the face of that monstrosity across the board. And it looks like it's raining again. Hopefully that doesn't come through at all or too loudly on the recording. And we have to block. Luckily they are top decking lands at this point. And we drew a land. However, we want to get in for damage first, I think. Let's do that. Yes, pay the energy. Good deal. And we'll flip Nissa and we'll make a Shia to block with. We will tick her down. No use ticking her up here, as there is a chance that we just won't draw something to block with, so let's go for the sure thing. It's almost always right to just make a Shia anyway, unless you need something more to actually get you out of the situation at hand. That way, even if Nissa dies, then you're at least left with a 4/4 elemental on the board. Alright, Voltaic Brawler, that's nice. Let's reveal and see what Nissa can give us. Fiery Temper? Sure. Well, let's play Voltaic Brawler because we will need that to block. Will give us 2 energy too, so we can pump our Thriving Rhino. We may need this Fiery Temper to finish off the opponent if we can actually get to that point. Or to kill something else that they play. Yes, we'll pay 2. Rhino's up to a 5/6. Still can't deal with an 8/9 first striker. We are working our way back into this game, though. So this is a tricksy decision. If the opponent has nothing, then they can't swing because we'll kill them on the crackback. They know we have this Fiery Temper here. Well, let's draw a card with the Nissa. That goes straight into play. So let's play this Longtusk Cub, which should give us the ability to Alpha Strike next turn if the opponent doesn't play anything. Alright, we're not attacking here. We need to just sit back and stare the opponent down. We can get through for potential lethal next turn with the Fiery Temper if they don't have any tricks up their sleeves. And they're holding 2 cards, but those could be something that doesn't really matter. Brazen Scourge was a really nice draw with the haste. Chandra. Yes, please. So Chandra's quite good at this point, I think. They think so too. We're going to continue playing. So we can't cast everything here. We probably want to start by swinging, and then between Fiery Temper and Chandra, we've got 5 points of direct damage. So, if even 2 of this gets through, it should be game. And the AI is blocking the big guy, as they should. And 5 points is indeed getting through. We're gaining 2 energy from the Cub. Let's play Chandra. We will use her plus ability. And whatever it is, we're not going to cast it. Do not cast spell. And that's the game. That was really, really close. That was an awesome game. Let's hope the next few are equally as exciting. Okay, we can't keep this. That's a bit better. We still need another land to cast everything but Harness Lightning, but I don't think that we can throw this back. Hopefully this game is even half as exciting as the last one. I truly thought that we were going to lose that from very early on the way things were going. Well, let's start out with the Rootbound Crag, as we don't have a 1-drop anyway. Hopefully we'll hit a 3rd land, then Nissa will help us to hit our 4th land drop as well. Ooh, it looks like we are up against Prowess or Burn of some sort with the Storm Chaser Mage there. This should be interesting. We do have a kill for that, and we most likely want to do that before they untap so they can't Prowess it in response. Hello, Chandra. At this point, even though you were great last game, I really wish you were a land. Go ahead and kill this guy. Spend it all, unfortunately. Would be nice if we could save an energy. That way our next Harness Lightning could kill something that is for defense. Alright, nice. Seems to have nothing, though they could just be holding up counter magic or other instant speed things. Still not drawing our 3rd land. Go ahead and deploy the Grubs. And even if it doesn't manage to survive, which it's not, we do have 2 energy in our pool now. And energy doesn't go away until you spend it. As far as I can remember, there are no cards available now that can drain a person's energy. Another Storm Chaser Mage. Alrighty. Come on, land off the top. And yay. Alrighty, so what is the play? Probably just Nissa. That way we can for sure cast Chandra next turn if we need to. Yes, I would. Grab a forest. And now this may be a bit more of a game. It is important to note that if you use her 4 damage to a creature immediately, it makes her extremely vulnerable as she goes to 1 loyalty. So most of the time you don't want to do that unless you absolutely have to. So it looks like this deck is Prowess. I think our best bet here is Collective Defiance escalated. Yeah, that way they would need 2 spells to keep their Storm Chaser Mage alive. So we'll do that. We'll do 4 here and 3 to their face. That worked out okay. And we will skip attacks. I want to keep Nissa alive to block if nothing else. Would be nice if we could keep her around to protect Chandra here, but she is going bye-bye. Still, they would need a haste creature or direct damage to deal with her after we kill this Mage Ring Bully with her. In either way, even if she dies, she will have soaked up some damage. So, hello, Chandra. Let's kill a nerd. Alright, hope she survives. If she doesn't, we'll just deal with that. Yep, Twin Bolt taking her out. Well, that's fine. Didn't soak up as much damage as I would have hoped, but still. Oh, they're doing it all to her. So she did soak up it all. Nice. That's fine by me. So here, I'm pretty sure we just play our Hellion and start smashing. We'll have enough energy to keep it alive for 2 turns, and more on the way. I will, of course, pay to keep the Hellion around. Thermo Alchemist, okay. I think our play this turn is Brazen Scourge, that way we've got 7 points of damage coming across. We can also play the Longtusk Cub after combat, so that's good. Go in to attack. And crash for a lot. Looks like they're taking it all. Nice. Play our Cub. And we'll also pay to keep our Hellion on the board. Got Thriving Rhino to give us 2 more energy for sure next turn. Plus Longtusk Cub can also give us energy if he manages to hit the opponent. Alright, looks like the opponent has some spells to cast here. Twin Bolt, probably on the Cub, yep. Not to be ignored are the 2 Fiery Tempers we're holding in our hands also. So, if either of these things hit the opponent, we can kill them. So let's just swing, shall we? Yup. Well, let's go ahead and temper the opponent's face. We're going to take a damage, it looks like. And they're going to concede. We'll go ahead and just finish out the last few seconds. And I'll see you guys in the next game. I'm quite happy with this hand, I think. We'll keep this. We'll lead off with our Forest. Into turn 2, Voltaic Brawler, which seems incredibly good. Just depending on what transpires on the opponent's side of the board. Aha, looks like Vamps. We should be able to compete with this. I haven't faced vampires with this deck yet, so this should be a very interesting match. Would love to have had you in our opening hand so that we could have just curved out Mr. Kessig Prowler. And Aerith Falcon Wraith. I really wish we could get a Smuggler's Copter online and going so you guys can see how ridiculous that card is. Because it is. It is absolutely ridiculous. I've had a couple of games that it's pretty much just carried the whole game. Well, let's play Aether Hub here. That way we have extra energy for Harness Lightning. If we can get them to block with both of these, we can just blow them out. Confirm. And we will be paying the 1 energy for 3 trample. And it looks like they're just going to take it. That's fine as well. We'll play out our Kessig Prowler. We still have Harness Lightning available. We probably should just kill this air so that they don't have the Madness Outlet available. Yeah, I'm going to do that. There we go. Setting on a good, well, goodbye. We're going to continue playing. That's really, really early for a concession. Lifelink, yeah, I'll take it. That's fine. Yeah, see, they still had plenty of things in hand. Guess they were just convinced that it was over. Actually fairly happy to trade my Kessig Prowler here. Though, They don't have enough to sacrifice this. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Could Collective Defiance and deal 4 here and 3 here. Keep my creatures around. That may be better. It would stop me from playing my Bristling Hydra, though. Actually, I think that's fine. I've talked myself into it. 4 and 3. And attack. Confirm. We will be spending the energy. Also spending energy for the Aether Hub there, as we needed our second red source. One more land and we can flip our Kessig Prowler into a Sinuous Predator. Hello, Asylum Visitor. Have to be aware that that is out. Well, there is that. So the play here is, I think, just to transform the Prowler and swing with it by itself. Well, we could have 8. This can only be blocked by 1. This will trample for 3 no matter what. Is it worth it to trade the Brawler? I don't think it is. I think I just want to attack with the Prowler. Confirm. Alright, now it's just going to Abyss the opponent, as they can only block with 1 creature at a time. Collective Defiance, alrighty, probably killing this. Yep, we'll take 3 as well. And Hellion, that's a good draw. Well, let's play the Hellion. This time I think I will attack with everything. Continue. And of course we will give this guy +1/+1 and trample. That way, even if this blocks, we will still be trampling over for 3, but it's blocking here to absorb the 4 damage, it looks like. Well, let's play out our Longtusk Cub. And we will also keep our Hellion alive. Alrighty, what are you killing? Sure. Yeah, I'm just much more impressed during the short time that I've played with the Hellion than with the Hydra. The 1 less mana to activate it, the haste, is just really, really good. Hello, Asylum Visitor again as well. However, the opponent's really close to dead here, and they're just completely dead. So, boom. And no matter what they do, it's game over. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Well, just recovered for the first crash that I've had since the Kaladesh patch was implemented. Keep hand. Looks like it did take a rank from us. We're still now in the double digits, so that's nice, though we would have been at 11 or 12 if we had won that match. Go ahead and play out our Kessig Prowler. In all honesty, the game does seem to be fairly stable since the patch. However, in all fairness, I haven't gotten to play that much of it, so who knows what issues other people may be having right now. Looks like we've got Oath of Nissa going on and Evolving Wilds. Looks like they've invested in some nice card sleeves here. That's a new feature that Magic Duels had with the patch implementation there. Not really any of them that I'm super interested in, though I think it is a nice feature. I would really much rather that they would let us spend some of our gold for full art lands. That would be something much more appealing to me. We may be up against some Planeswalker shenanigans here with the Oath of Nissa. If so, hopefully we can get in under it and absolutely wreck them before they can get any of that going. No, maybe not. Oath of Nissa is just a fine card in any deck, but is better in the Planeswalker-centric ones. Alright, I will happily trade Kessig Prowler, for the Thalia's Lieutenant. We'll play out our Brazen Scourge. I don't want to Exquisite Firecraft this. We'll swing, and we will pay the 2 energy here. I would rather keep the grubs around at this point than the Prowler. Though the Prowler does have the upside of being able to flip, and we do have the mana in hand to do that, but it will be 2 turns before we can get to that point. Looks like they are choosing not to block at all. Don't know how I feel about that. It's a lot of damage really quickly going to their face. Not going to argue though, happy to keep my Prowler for yet another turn. Uvenwald Mysteries. Just really don't like this card. It's very, very slow and just doesn't do enough in my opinion. Scythe Leopard, eh? Well, since we are so close to flipping this, I may not attack with it. However, if I attack and they block here to trade, they're dead because of the Firecraft, so yeah. We'll just put the Prowler at risk once again. And if that's the block they choose to trade with, then they're dead. Yep, if they had blocked here, they would stay alive, but they can't know that I have this Firecraft in hand. Well, that was a very quick game. Let's play another, shall we? No. Yes, I will keep this. Well, these have been some fairly quick games overall. Still, I think that this will be our last one, win or lose. Let's hope we can end on a win. Would love to top deck a 2-drop. A second 1-drop is fine, I suppose. Get that little kitty cat out there. Join with his wolfy friend. And turn 3 Brazen Scourge into turn 4 Chandra seems like pretty good gas to me. Is this the same person we played last time? I don't think it is. It looks like we've got some glitches there. I don't think they were at rank 14. This seems to be someone else. Maybe this here is someone that's on a Planeswalker plan. Don't know. This deck seems to be fairly well positioned versus Planeswalker decks, though, as long as you get a halfway decent start. They take a little while to set up, and this deck really doesn't give you the time to do that. Oops, sorry. Have to wait for the landfall trigger to go through. Swinging for 7. Alright, Nissa from the opponent. I think Chandra will be roasting her Gatewatch companion come our next turn, allowing us to get in for another 7 damage. Let's play the duel. Here we go. Tick her down 3. 4 to Nissa. 7 to opponent. And they've had enough. We're going to play out the last little bit though, just for funsies. Haven't got to tick Chandra up yet for you guys. So let's do that. Let's do not the mana ability. Alright. No, actually we did get to tick Chandra up, didn't we? Oh, so that's bugged. Or no, it did the damage automatically. Never mind. It just didn't give me the choice. As I stated, you can't play lands off of Chandra. She just automatically does the 2 damage. Anyway, sorry. Little bit of a brain fart there. Either way, we could swing, we could burn. This person's dead 10 ways from Sunday. And that will be it for this episode of Friday Night Magic. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like below. It helps tremendously. Also, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. I have been Tevaron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.